All right, we have the weed doctor in the house. He is actually Dr. Peter Dotray, Texas Tech Plant and Soil Sciences Department. Also, he's got a dual appointment. He's also with AgriLife Research. Mm-hmm. And, man, this guy knows pretty much everything there is to know about weeds and herbicides. Welcome to the program. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning.
All right. How'd you get into this stuff, man?
Some farming in the family, and took lots of agronomy courses, and there was one on weed science that was very interesting, and the rest is history.
Now, do you work mostly with agriculture or like lawn and garden?
This sounds like a what's my line question.
Yeah, I would say most of the clientele would be producers, cotton growers, sorghum growers, but lots of phone calls come in from homeowners. Not necessarily my area of expertise, but herbicides are herbicides, weeds are weeds.
No matter where they are.
Okay. Now, a lot of these people that are have just been to the home improvement store are about to start cussing and swearing because we were discussing a trend that is being identified that Roundup may be deemed superfluous and ineffective. Yes, no, or maybe?
Yes, no, and maybe all of the above. So
that simplifies it.
So yes, weeds are starting.
Bring it on, man.
Weeds are starting to develop resistance to Roundup.
Uh-oh.
So whether these weeds are growing in cotton fields, sorghum fields, corn fields, moving into back alleyways, athletic fields. Some of the Roundup applications that we used to use very possibly won't be as effective as they once were. So
wow,
it's recognizing resistance. It's recognizing a herbicide that doesn't work as effectively as it used to, and just kind of taking a step back and revisiting all options that are available. Herbicides control weeds many different ways. Roundup has one unique way. If the way Roundup kills isn't working, then it's stepping back and thinking about other products. 2,4-D, Clarity, lots of pre-emergent herbicides can be used. Those will still be effective.
Now with the 2,4-D stuff, the 2,4-D used to be kind of like the weapon of choice, just about in everything. And then didn't it go away for a while? And then they start bringing it back, or was it just less prevalent because Roundup was the big thing?
Yeah, probably because Roundup was the big thing. So, yeah, 2,4-D's been around since the 40s. Lots of other products have since come, very effective products, somewhat maybe competing in the marketplace. 2,4-D is really making a comeback as we're starting to look at now some crop technologies that will tolerate a certain salt formulation of 2,4-D. So I would expect in 2016, at least from the agronomic standpoint, a lot more 2,4-D being put into the tank.
Wow. All right. We were also asking you if you were going to be going to the edible weed thing at the Arboretum, which you probably aren't. But interesting thing, you were saying that some of these weeds that are edible may also be
toxic.
Are toxic at certain times of the year. So, what are some of those deals?
So I've got several references that I try to pull off the shelves when we talk about some of those things in the classroom. So lots of our weeds are edible. At a certain stage, they can be very tender, very nutritious. But at other stages, particularly if they start producing seed or start producing some berries or fruits, some of those at certain amounts can be not so whatever.
So the younger, the better.
Not going to feel too good on the stomach. So, yes, certainly the younger, the better. But we have, dandelions. I know a lot of people will put dandelions in their salads, different types of greeneries. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What I may call a weed, a plant out of place, you may call something that's very desirable. So
I'm going to go harvest some dandelion flowers across the street at my neighbor's house and put them in the
they're
salad.
They're so plentiful that we know they're not using herbicides.
They're not going to even miss them.
I'm not sure how nutritious and tasteful the flower part of dandelion will be.
Oh, really? It's not the flower?
No, I think it's mainly that rosette. It's the green leaf that folks are using in their salads.
Oh.
So
I thought the flowers would be a really pretty salad.
So if you're over there picking, don't just pick the flowers. Make sure you
take the leaves too.
Take the
so
leaves as
you're
well.
talking about the stuff that's close to the ground, the low-hanging stuff.
That's right.
Huh. How interesting. All right. As far as Plant and Soil Sciences Department goes, What do you guys have to offer as far as career track opportunities? I mean, there aren't kids, sitting around the house going, gee, when I grow up, I want to be a weed doctor. But I mean, basically, what draws people into this? Is it like solution to the problem, trying to create better growing environments with, less stress and pressure on, the good plants?
So I mean, yes, in all aspects of plant growth and development, from better understanding the soils that the plants are growing in to better understanding fertility that the plants can utilize to improve growth and development. My area is more on the crop protection side, so I focus on the weed part and certainly trying to understand the biology and the ecology of the weed. I think my colleagues in the other crop protection disciplines like entomology and plant pathology would say the same thing. We've got to understand the pest before we can develop the most economical, sustainable, profitable program to control those pests. So lots of folks I think that I see in the classroom, they've got some agricultural experience. They may not know anything about weed science, but they're in there trying to figure out what this crop protection discipline is all about. And then, some of them are stimulated by some of the discussion. I think in Lubbock, Texas right now, we've got a major presence from Bayer Crop Science, from Dow, Phytogen, Monsanto. There's BASF, DuPont. There's today a lot of opportunities for our graduates, and I think they see that. A lot of those folks are students that we've had in the classroom, students that were graduate students of ours. So right now we've got a really nice pipeline. There's lots of, I think, very attractive and good jobs for our graduates. And I think some of the students...
Right here in the area.
Right here in the area.
Okay, this is probably out of left field. You may or may not know the answer to this question. What does Tier 1 research level mean to your department and what you do? More money, more grants, more research?
Yes. Certainly in the research areas that we're doing, opportunities for us to collaborate both internally and externally, federal grants, more dollars coming in. Certainly that's one of the parts of the formula for a Tier 1 research institution.
Right. Are there any things that you're doing to maybe kind of like facilitate that, trying to get the dominoes just a little bit closer to falling over on this deal?
Well, I'm trying. In my small way in the weed science, weed research area. We're trying to do some things that are not only important for growers around Lubbock, Texas, high plains of Texas, in Texas, but we're trying to look at some bigger issues with folks from across the country. Again, back to this weed resistance issue. This is real big, and I think there's lots of interest in Washington right now to better understand. Back to the biology and the ecology. If we let some of these weeds emerge September 1, do we have to worry? And the answer is yes, because you may be thinking of a Palmer pigweed or careless weed that's 6 feet tall, but there's some that may be 1 inch tall that essentially as they come out of the ground, they're thinking, I need to start producing some seed to try to ensure that this genetic base is present in future years. So as an example, one piece of research that I'm doing with some colleagues from Arkansas, colleagues in College Station, is looking at late emerging weeds around harvest time and the detrimental effects from a seed production standpoint.
Is that stuff that is relative to your AgriLife affiliation?
It is, in fact. So, and I appreciate you bringing that up. I did want to mention I've got a real unique appointment. You mentioned joint appointment, Texas Tech, Plant and Soil Science, certainly Texas A&M AgriLife Research. That's true. I also have a third hat, Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. So I work for 3 different agencies. When the phone call comes in, most folks don't really care. I'm here to try to solve problems. But part of my job is speaking to growers. In fact, I'm heading down to Snyder right after this program. I'll put on my extension hat. Tomorrow I'll be back in the classroom, Texas Tech hat. We're starting now to gear up for some research programs. Certainly Texas Tech is doing a good job with research, but I've got a formal research appointment with Texas A&M AgriLife Research as well. So to me, all 3 tie together very nicely. I feel like the research and extension make me a better teacher. The teaching part makes me a better extension person, and so forth.
Well,
and a lot is going on at Texas Tech Plant and Soil Sciences Department worldwide on a global level. We've had some people come in and talk about their travels to other parts of the world and helping solve problems.
And that is true. It's certainly an international emphasis, and in the weed science community, we've got local organizations, state organizations, regional, national, and there's an International Weed Science Society of America as well, where folks will go and share information about resistance and other things that are current and necessary from a weed management standpoint.
Okay, curveball for you.
You guys just have it going on.
All right, public weed enemy number one, United States of America. What is it?
Well, so I'm going to answer the question with a question. First of all, it depends if you're talking about most common or most troublesome. So most common would be a weed that is just it's present, but we've got ways to control them. And this, many of our pigweed species are very common, but we've got some good tools. Some of our perennial weeds, field bindweed, would probably be one of the ones that I would put on that most troublesome list. You'll find field bindweed from Minnesota, Texas, California, over to Florida. It is completely across the U.S. In areas that have field bindweed, you can bring in a backhoe and you can start digging down 30 feet and you'll still find some reproductive structures that deep.
Oh, wow.
So folks that have field bindweed that are looking for a quick fix won't find a quick fix. Maybe it's edible, so we should do a better job in that area. But
there's always that hope.
It's a very difficult to control weed, and I would put a lot of other perennial weeds in that same category. Extremely troublesome, very competitive. It would take a long-term approach to try to bring some of those populations down to a much more manageable level.
Wow. Pete Dotray, Dr. Pete Dotray with Texas Tech Plant and Soil Sciences, AgriLife Research, and AgriLife Extension. Thanks for coming in, man.
Very good.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity. Welcome an opportunity to come back and visit with you again.
We'll visit with you again. Safe travels to Snyder.
Thank you.